Hello traders, welcome to session 108, how to day trade any market, the $1,000 a day challenge. For the young guns, 1,000 a day may not be enough for you, therefore increase the number of contracts that you trade. However, we never forget our money management rules. Now what I teach you in these sessions you can apply to trading futures, forex and stocks. In today's session I'm going to be playing back a video of 3 live trades I took on the RTY on the Russell, and I'll be explaining step by step exactly why I took those trades, and I think it goes for probably 8 minutes. But before we get there, there's a lot of other goodies I want to get to. One of the challenges unfortunately with YouTube today, and that's where you're probably watching this video, is traders want to get to the point, quick smart, but you've got to lay the foundation. It's the syntax or the order of things that really makes the difference. I've been a day trader for 28 years, so therefore I've also got to say you may not get the results that I achieve, but what I'm going to be showing you is my setups are very mechanical in their nature. Now they're not 100% mechanical, because as you're going to see today, we're going to be looking at support resistance levels. Now a lot of videos and training sessions you see out there are very subjective when it comes to support resistance levels, but what I'm going to be showing you, mine are very mechanical and very rules based, and they plot automatically on the chart. So let's move on. So I do need to, let me click on that. I do need to pull up the disclaimer. There is a risk in trading. Don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. The great thing about trading platforms today, just about everyone, you can stay on the simulator before you go live, and even then I recommend you start on the micros, which I'll be showing you and talking to you about very briefly today as well. A very quick advertisement: if you haven't already downloaded my ebook, please click on the description link below, the truth about day trading. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure you do, so you'll be kept up to date with all of my most recent videos. So this is, as you can see there, session 108. So I release new videos every week. Even better still, become a member. If you like what I show you today, remember I'm going to be really diving in deep, so stick around. For $197 traders, you can join. There's over 200 videos of it, 200 videos. There's probably about, it probably is over 200 videos. Gee, it must be 400 now, but there's over 38 PowerPoints. There's free indicators, all included in the 197 with no upsell. You don't have to buy anything else. Now I also have a bonus going where included in the 197 is 1 month of my private group coaching sessions. That is every Tuesday and Wednesday between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I run 2-hour coaching sessions where you can attend, you can type in questions. There are dozens of usually there's 80 to 120 130 traders there all around the world asking questions as I explain my setups step by step. Now I'm just looking up ahead right now, and so in those sessions we'll also I'll bring down the charts and we'll talk about live setups as they set up. That is, I'll be talking to them exactly what I'm looking for. In fact, this is the Russell 3 tick which we're going to be looking at today. Don't worry about the MACD BB, that's what that is down the bottom. We use basically very basic indicators available on any trading platform. What I don't have on there is my super scalper. Let me just put that on there just so you can see my super scalper there. Okay, you'll see the white paint bar in a moment. Now the day I'm recording this, it's actually the what is it there, the 6th of August. So we're seeing a great deal of volatility in the markets over the last week, which may continue. Look traders, the good news is inflation's going down, interest rates will be cut very soon. Earnings reports on most companies are still very healthy. You know, it's a correction. It is a correction. However, one thing that we do need to take in account is this: as we can see on the screen here, the markets are moving very quickly, and that is where we then need to change the time frames that we're trading. Now I'm recording this is at 34 minutes after midnight Central Standard Time. And so this is what we call the Globex market. The Globex market opens at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and in around 2 hours time I then start to get the European market fires up, which is my favorite time. In fact, from in about 30 minutes time is my favorite time for trading. And it's because it's not too slow, it's not too fast normally, but let's remember at the moment, we'll come back to the charts, but we are experiencing very fast markets. So what we do then, I may as well show you this. Here we go. So that's where then you'll increase the time frame that you're going to be trading. Like today we're looking at the RTY 3 tick, which isn't on here, but what is relevant then is your account size. You see, one of the greatest mistakes that traders make is trading while undercapitalized, and there's no excuse for it today, because you can now start trading the micros for as little as $300. Build your account, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment, quickly and efficiently, and then roll over and start trading the big contract. You see, unfortunately most traders won't treat trading as a business, and that's exactly what it is. And it's like going into a business totally undercapitalized, you're going to go broke. And that's what happens with traders time after time after time. And so it's about learning to trade within your money management rules, which is a maximum risk of 2% a trade. Now we also have to remember that during high times of volatility, just watching the markets here right now, that the intraday margins will quite often lift, and same with the overnight margins. Okay, so these are key considerations which I'm getting beyond this session. But what I did want to point out here is to trade the 3 tick. And actually it's in the PowerPoint I'm about to show you. You need a $3,000 account to stay within your 2% rule. Now if you don't have 3,000, that's fine, you start on a micro, build it correctly. You see, the emotional damage that's done the traders when they blow their account a couple of times is enormous. You see, time's going to pass anyway. Why not learn how to day trade and live a life of your dreams the right way the first time? And that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Okay, and as I was just saying, just in closing, I got sidetracked. See the market, and we just had a beautiful setup. This is called a T3. Let me just quickly show you. This is really relevant because you're going to see this on the charts I'm about to show you in a moment. There was a perfect trade there, and here this is called a T3, which is a mean reversion trade. Okay, these are mechanical, and I want you to remember this. Look what we're bouncing off up here. We're bouncing off the current day's high, yesterday's close, and the current day's open. Support resistance areas. But what I want you to notice here is see how they're plotted, or they plot automatically. So therefore you know in advance, just like here the EMAs that I use. You'll see here we just bounce off them day in, day out. Now you'll also notice I'm using Renko charts here. You can use time-based charts, tick, volume, whatever rocks your boat. I love Renko. It smooths out price action, but I do cheat. That is, I'll still refer to tick charts, which I still love. You see, Renko can be great, but sometimes, see this just where I am right here, sometimes you'll have a still green candles and you don't have a re-entry, an obvious re-entry, but you look at your tick charts and you got a little kickback on your tick charts, and you get a little pullback and trend continuation setup. However, for a brand new trader, they're just absolutely ideal. So finally, for included in the 197 is 1 month in my coaching room. That's 8 2-hour sessions. If you can't attend the sessions, they are recorded, and if you decide to continue after that, just drop me an email. It's $97 a month thereafter. Now it would be a game changer for most people if you could earn an extra $1,000 a day, 5,000 a week. Maybe your target's only 200 or 300 a day, 400 a day, whatever it is. You've got to have some sort of target there, of course. And some people say you're not meant to set targets, but you're like a ship without a rudder, right? And creating a compelling future also allows you to continue with your learning cycle. That is, so many people, because you've got to treat this as a 90 to 180 day internship. But a couple of months in, traders will say, oh look, it's getting a bit long, I just haven't picked it up yet. Traders, it's not rocket science, it's about pattern recognition. And if you've got a compelling future, that drives you. So we start off with $100 a day as a target per contract. Once you get off the micros, you then increase it maybe to 300 a day, depending on the market you're trading and the time frame. For an example, on the RTY today, I'm trading 8 contracts, as you'll see in a moment, and my target was 150 a day, and I hit about 164, 165. But generally, I'm after, on 5 contracts on the NQ, I'm after 1,000 a day during the Globex session. And if you've watched my other videos, you'll see usually I achieve that in well under an hour. Get in, get out, get paid. But I also believe in what I call POQ, the power of quitting. If you're a young gun, certainly you may choose to keep trading as many hours a day as you like, any more than about 4 hours, and you start to suffer from what we call decision fatigue. Okay, it's like a bucket of water. Every time you take a cup of water out, okay, you're going to run out of water. That's like making decisions. We start to make mistakes. But also, trading is about lifestyle. Now, I'm nearly 65. I'm a young nearly 65. However, I want to have a great lifestyle, and I don't want to be trading all day. And that's where my style comes into, where it's scalping. It's a cross between scalping and day trading. So if you're a trader already, or an aspiring one, or a struggling trader, I want you to remember POQ, the power of quitting. And in time you might choose to then slowly increase your daily targets, but I promise you it makes trading a lot easier. So what we're going to be looking at today is the 3 trades here I took, and I've recorded, and I'll give you a running commentary. So what I'll sometimes do is be trading, I'll jump on, I'll record this, and sometimes I don't even plug in the mic, and I'll just record it. Then as I'm doing it, I might go like this, and so the key points, if I do show anyone, or what I'll do is usually show members or train my members. And by the way, I do run a live trading room as well as the coaching session. So for general members, you'll recognize all of these are just our stock standard setups. So it's a nice little session there in 15 minutes, in and out within 15 minutes. Now I want to very quickly talk about your trading plan and how you actually get these sort of results, because in the description link below you can actually download the little spreadsheet, and I've got a little training video that you can download and watch on how to set your targets and how to start to set up your trading plan as far as where you'd like to go. Now so many traders and people in general in life just don't have goals or targets. And as I sometimes say, a poor man or woman is not a man or woman without a cent, but a man or woman without a dream. By having and creating a realistic, compelling future, that's what this is all about. So let's just say here, and let me stand for a moment. So I've got a standing desk, so I'll stand at my desk here for a moment. So let's just say here you've got 3,000, 10,000, 100,000. Start on the micros and build from there. Make all the mistakes you're going to make on a micro, that is after the simulator. Then you go, and I cover this in my training, then you start trading the micro. Do you think you're going to go and work for a hedge fund and they all of a sudden give you $100,000, $1 million to trade with? Of course not. You've got to do your internship. Every master was once a student. We're not talking about years here, we're only talking about months, if that. You can do this, but you've got to do it correctly. So start off with 300 on a micro, in this case on the RTY, and each tick or step, as you'll see in a moment, is worth 50 cents, and we're after 30 steps a day or 30 ticks a day, which is $15. Now what that means is within 12 weeks I now have nearly $3,500 in my account. I can now start trading the big contract. I've used the market's money. You might halfway through this, you've got it down pat, you're doing really well, then roll some more of your own capital in. But here you're using the market's money, and how it works here is we're never risking more than 2%, and as soon as we double our money, that is we go to 600, we start trading another contract. We get 900 in our account, we now start trading 3. It's a progressive, realistic plan. So then within 12 weeks we can now roll over and start trading the big contract. Now on the RTY we're going for 150 a day. Now can you make $400 or $500 a day on it? Yes you can, particularly if you're trading during the New York hours. However, to stay within your money management rules, you've got to have a much larger account. Now if you're currently working, you can get home at 6 p.m. at night and you can start day trading with a smaller account. So if you're going to trade a higher time frame, you'll need a larger account, but likewise you can go for a larger figure. Now I know that this is a very realistic figure for a trader using my strategies. I could go and put in there 400 a day and whatever, but it's just not realistic for a newer trader. Now what 150 a day is, that is 30 ticks, okay, or 30 steps, as I'm about to show you in a moment. And then a further 11 weeks, or by the time, or when you go live with 3,000, you've now got an income of over, potentially, I've got to say that legally, over 500,000 and 5,500 a week, let me get that right, and you've got an account size there of $27,000. Now this is a realistic plan. Now once again, this spreadsheet you can download below along with a little training video. Here's the bottom line: if you start on the micro, that is, once you start trading on a micro, allowed to trade on the simulator until you've got the setups right, and let me just keep an eye on this. Okay, here within 12 weeks our account size is now 3,500. We can roll over, time taken 23 weeks once you go live, for a potential income of $5,000 plus per week. This is the true potential of this business if you treat it as a business. Okay, that is proper management, discipline, focus and patience. Now how do we get to the target of 150? So yep, it's great, 5 grand a week sounds fantastic. How do we actually do it? As you're about to see on the chart that I'm trading, I call them steps, and you'll see this in a moment. So if you're scalping like I do, I love to scalp, get in, get out, get paid. But I'll show you a little technique and a little tool whereby you can trail, which can work very effectively. I don't trail. All right, I've got a target. I will increase it when I'm buying or selling into a major area of support or resistance. However, I want to get in and get out. That suits my personality. Now down here, if we have 5 trades a day by 7 steps, okay, or 3.5 by 10 steps trades a day, we're going to hit our 150 a day. Now they're always going to vary, because sometimes we'll go for a slightly larger target, other times we'll take profits, but the bottom line is on average you're going to be taking, after any losses, 4 to 5 net trades a day. Now that might mean, traders, that you're going to execute 8 trades a day, okay, but let me tell you, the market moves that quickly. Now there's that many opportunities. On the other hand, you get your accuracy rate up to 80-90%, of course you're in and out, as you're about to see, very quickly. Sometimes my videos, you'll see I've taken 8 trades to hit my target. Other times, like today, 3 out of 3. Now before we go to the charts, here are the critical things that we need to consider. Now with all of these all plot on your charts automatically. Now you might have a trading platform where I don't have indicators for an example, TradingView. I don't have set indicators, but I give you all of my settings so you can soon set them up. And so pivots, every trading platform now has pivots, open, high, low, and close from prior days. All of these are indicators here that are readily available, free. You don't have to buy them, they're free. Okay, but the reason these are important, as you're about to see, these will act as support resistance levels. Like, see that there, 200 EMA. I want to show you something here. Look at this just now. See that there, traders? Here I'm bouncing off a 200, here I'm bouncing off a 200 EMA, here I am, and here I'm bouncing off a 200 on my anchor chart. You'll find that these act as major support resistance levels all day, every single day. You'll be amazed just how you'll just come to believe in these EMAs. So let's go to the chart. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this video back and I'll try to keep, and of course I can't see what you can see. You can probably see this ribbon down the bottom here. So I haven't started. I'll start it here in a moment and I'll explain exactly what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. Now first of all, what I've got here on the right is what I call my anchor chart 1, and this is an entry chart. As you're about to see here, I've got this wrong and I tried to get in here too late and I missed the trade, and it would have been just a beauty. Now why do I want to take this? I had a higher high on price and I had a lower high on my MACD and over on my anchor chart 1, and I've got a special MACD. It's called a platinum zero lag, so it moves very quickly. If you, now I've got it coded for TradeStation and NinjaTrader. If you've got another platform, I give you the settings whereby you can customize any MACD to basically do the same thing. But what I want you to see here, higher high in price, lower high, and look at that there, we're dropping like a rock. So let's start with here, and I went to sell here. Would have been in very late. Now just below there, see these dotted lines, this one just here and this one here, they are pivot levels. Now this is trade 1. So trade 1, this is actually what I call a 2B or a 2BD, and now normally speaking here we've got a 12 tick stop. In fact, this one here is a 13 tick stop, but if you're working on a $3,000 account, you can only well, you limit your stop to 12 ticks, which you could have easily done here. So here I was also in late. If I got in on time, I wouldn't have had the issue. Now look up the top there, you can see where I'm looking at exiting, which is up there at around the last swing high. And so you'll see me do that a lot, where I'll target swing highs. Sometimes I'll go for a larger target. Now what I'm doing just there is this. Look what I'm pointing out. So eventually I'm looking at going up there and tagging that high. Now just then, if you're watching the screen there, you would have seen I went to break even. However, I pulled my stop loss, and what I'm just looking at there is my anchor chart, checking out the anchor chart, a higher time frame. So I pulled my stop loss back down because I've got a fairly tight stop loss, and that is sorry, go to break even, I should say. Sometimes it's too tight. So if I've got a great target, I'll go to my stop loss will go to my entry price, but I'll then sometimes pull it down, as you'll see there. Now just here where we are price wise now, we had another re-entry, so you could have entered just here as well. So here our target is up here. We could see we've got a pivot well and truly up above. Now this will go for another 6 minutes. Stay with me because there's some really important stuff here. So here we're up 210. I'm long 8 contracts, and that was over there. You can see that great 2DA I missed. Okay, I was really peeved about that. And that's where you've just got to be when you're trading, particularly shorter time frames. You just got to be focused. So I'm just pointing out that swing just there. And what am I turning the swing indicator on? Probably am. So I've got a little swing indicator. I've got a couple of different versions, and this one might even be just openly available in NinjaTrader, but I've got a few different types because quite often we'll rally up and we will bounce at these swing highs and swing lows, and this was on that little PowerPoint I just showed you. So let me just quickly show you that there. Okay, where are your intraday swing highs and lows? Because we go up there and we tag them. Now remember, what I haven't pointed out is, let me pause this just here for a moment. I mentioned we're after 30 ticks to net 150 a day. If you only want to net and 30 ticks, by the way, on a 3,000 account, that's a 5% return. You might be quite happy just 100 a day per contract, and so that's only 20 ticks. So I call these steps here. So these are actually called well, these are Renko candles. Each one is 3 ticks in total height, but each step is worth 1 tick. So to net 150 a day on this time frame, you only need 3 basically net 11 tick trades a day. So right, yes, it is. Or as I mentioned, 4 to 5 scalps. And the reason I call them scalps, like I can't remember what I do here. Sometimes we'll come up to this sort of level. I might only be up maybe 7 ticks, and I want a front run. That is, I decide to get out, take my profits. Sometimes we'll fly through, and other times we'll bounce. But let's just see where we go from here. So I'm after 30 of these steps a day. Okay, so now and finally we get filled. So we've now hit that. Now I want you to look over on the right. See this? Here is another support resistance level up here. They plot automatically, no guessing what we've got to do. And just note here, we've shot past this slightly, this intraday swing. So I've now gone short here. Now why have I shorted here? Got a beautiful little double top just there. For members watching, you end up getting a T10, as you can see. Okay, I ended up so I'm just thinking, I've now gone to break even, and look down below just there. See the thin black line and that dotted line there? This is a pivot. So what we've got to watch is, and I'll quite often take profits when I'm selling. Now this is actually a counter trend move. So as I hit a pivot, you'll quite often see me go to break even or take profits when I hit the pivot. So I'm thinking, what do I do here? I'm just thinking, looking at this here. Look, I think I'll go to break even. I think that's what I'll do, or even lock in profit. Now look at that there. See how now I've hit the pivot. So will I get through here? I'm going to go to break even at the pivot, and I probably get stopped, and we'll see in a moment. Now stopped out taking a profit. There I get filled and I get my full target. But the reason, you'll look at that, that's the very reason why you'll see me take profits quite often at pivots, because there we've got what we call a pivot bounce 3B. I call that a 3B for a number of reasons. Now, very high probability setup for members watching this, and this is a tip I'll give everyone here and give you a real freebie here. See on the right there how we've got on one of my anchor charts here, and I run with 2 different time frame anchor charts. Very easy to read after a period of time, but see how you've got all red candles or all green. Normally speaking, depending on your level of experience, if you want what I call insurance, you'd wait for your anchor chart 1 candle to close green. Okay, so you wait for the green, and here I'm just looking at so you want to wait that to close green. Now I got in before that because I also had a pivot bounce, which is really improves your probability. Now just here, look at that great divergence we had, and I'm just checking. You'll see me do this regularly where I pull my charts down to check out what's in front of us, because if you've got a, say if you went long here, or say long up here, you might have a pivot or a major area of support or resistance just above. You want to know if you're buying into that, because there's a very good chance, like here, look at this bounce off that swing high. All right, you went through it by 4 ticks, but then you got this massive pullback. This happens every day, so that's why I like to get in, get out. So anyway, we'll continue here, see where this goes. Okay, so we are long. You can see there my target's up there just below the swing, that swing high. My stop is 1 tick below the swing. Here I'm sort of thinking, and that's the thing with trading. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be consistent with your setups. So you know, sometimes I'll be trading like this. What do? Do I want to lock this in? I don't want to go and give back 200 bucks on that. Okay, so here on the other hand, I know I've got pivots. Remember how I scrolled down and I'm just checking again what it looks like on my higher time frame. Yep, I'm thinking I've made the right decision. My higher time frames still trending up in an uptrend. See what you can see on the right there with the anchor chart 1, you just don't have enough information there. Okay, you've got to be, and I actually have full screens above. I've got 6 screens. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, so now we've hit our target. Now let's just stay with this for a minute, because there's some valuable information still I want to share with you here. So we're up what was it, $1,300 odd on this. We've hit our target. Now look on the right there, see that just there on the anchor chart. Well, here we can see here, let me just so normally, so 1345, 12 tick stop. We had pity I missed that one, but two would have been beautiful reversal setups. Just can't go wrong with those, and 2 beautiful trend following setups. Now I want to show you something on the right which will appear in a minute, or on the screen I should say. Now just there, here it is, just here, this is point 1. Look what's set up again straight after. Okay, bang, we come back, and that is what we call a, whoops, where's the camera, there it is, a 2B, a perfect 2B just there. Now look, we went up and hit, we hit yesterday's close, the open, we hit our perfect areas just here, and this is going to be what we call, I think it's a 2D, this one, without looking at the screen, going back there. So there you had a short, so you had a beautiful one. Now with that, if you look at this here, how many steps is there? What's that, 15? You're after, that's 15 ticks. Here traders, you're after 30 a day net. Greed kills traders. Okay, power of quitting. Now just got a couple of minutes or 19 seconds to go. I'm just pointing out those trades, and look at this beautiful pullback here. So that would have been what I call a pivot bounce, and probably a 2D, and yes, it's a pivot bounce, and it would have been a 2D. Now a 2D is 2 divergences, a minimum of 2 divergences. We had divergence there on the entry chart, and we had divergence probably on the anchor chart 1. So what we're looking at here is the live 3 tick. Now this is 1:03 in the morning now, where I'm normally trading. This time frame here is unrealistic for trading today. Okay, so this is where you'd be jumping up to a 4 tick or even a 5 tick. Oh, and I've mentioned, sorry, if you like to trail, you've got this little indicator here. You can trail. You can also use, if you've got Ninja Trader, I've only got it here, the bar status indicator here. So traders, you can actually turn that off. Okay, so that's a Hull moving average, so you can switch that off. You don't have to have that. Now see that just there. Here is your typical divergence trade: higher high on price, lower high, and we call this angulation. Okay, so angulation is where you see price action moving strongly away, and when you get a pivot bounce, and yesterday's close, I know it's not technically a floor pivot, but they act like pivots. Okay, great area to look for a divergence trade. In fact, your best divergence trades will come off pivots. And look at this one down here, beautiful little double bottom there, and maybe hard for you to tell there, but divergence once again. So traders, I've covered a lot with you in this session, 35 minutes. Become a member. You'll get to learn these setups. You can trade these on any market, basically any time frame. It wouldn't matter if you were trading a one tick chart. The bounces and the setups are the same. The markets are what we call fractal in nature. You get fractals within fractals, or patterns within patterns. You also get a chance with the 197 of attending 8 of my 2-hour coaching sessions, and if you can't attend those, there literally is hundreds of videos and resources. So traders, you can join using the link below. Make sure you get my Excel spreadsheet, and traders, I love day trading. See you on my next video. Cheers.